Hello boys and girls, blueberries and old lights. There is this debate going on in the Destiny community about god rolls ever since rolls are not set on legendary and on some exotic weapons. The gist of the debate is thus: is there a set of rolls for each weapon which is the best possible combination, or any possible combination could be considered a god roll if it complements its user's playstyle and build? Now unfortunately, the answer to this question is not simple and straightforward, hence the debate. Destiny is played across multiple platforms by millions of players with different skill sets and playstyles, and something that is considered a god roll on one platform might be mediocre on another, or even with a different input device. Something that suits most of the players might not suit one's unique playstyle, and some builds require certain rolls to enhance certain aspects of an ability or an armor mod. That being said, there are certain role sets that simply outshine any other possible combination by being vastly better at one aspect or another of the game. Okay, this sounded overtly theoretical and scientific, and probably most of you want some practical advice, not someone going, oh well, it's rather complicated in it. So here you go. There are three categories of legendary weapons in Destiny regarding their drop rate and farmability. There are Whirlpool weapons, which drop from playlist activities, could be obtained from the vendors, and drop from random engrams. The rolls are totally random, so RNGesus decides if you get a diamond in the rough or a pile of shit. You might get one in every blue moon that is exceptionally good, but most of the time it's rubbish and you dismantle it instantly. The second category are weapons that are tied to certain seasons and DLCs, and these are the most farmable. Each season had its best weapons, which were and are a must-have, like the Ignition Code, Vulpecula, Threaded Needle, Chroma Rush, Canis Major, Extraordinary Rendition, to name a few. These weapons are either farmable by choosing a certain engram at the recaster, or in case of Season of the Hunt can be specifically limited to certain perks, so the chance to get the perk combo you particularly look for is higher. The third category is the weapons obtained in high-end activities. These are raids, dungeons, trials, and nightfalls. Some of them can be considered farmable as the drop is guaranteed, albeit the perk combo is not. So you could run 20 GM Nightfalls in a row and still not get the one palindrome that is not totally pathetic, or go flawless hundreds of times and still get shitroll after shitroll of other treats you get. Fortunately, you could roll for a non-adept version of any of the trials weapons, and you would get what you are looking for sooner or later, provided you play enough trials. Then there are the raid and dungeon weapons, which are tied to that activity and have a limited pool of weapons that drop after each encounter. Two raid weapon pools are totally farmable, as at the end of Vault of Glass and Deepstone Crypt you could roll for all the weapons and by spending Spoils of Conquest, so the same rules apply as applied to the recaster. And the Master Vault's Timeless Weapons drop with a curated perk combo, which is kind of okay, and for some it's actually the best possible roll, and for others you are still relying on luck. In Garden of Salvation and Last Wish the rolls are random, and so you need to run these raids each week to get the weapon rolls you are interested in, and the same rule applies to the dungeons. So in a sense, farming for particular rolls is limited for the second category of weapons, and for Rogue and DSC, as you could roll for these any number of times, so eventually you will get the particular roll you are looking for. And because with Witch Queen the seasonal weapons are gone, it's advisable to farm them while you still can. Okay, I hear you say, but Sinister, you Mellifluous raconteur, how would I know what to look for? Thank you for asking, my inquisitive fictitious viewer. I will get to that right away. There's a web page called light.gg. This will be your manual and go-to for any and all weapons, but there are caveats. You will need to register with your gamer ID and then open up Pricer. This will show you all your weapons and evaluate them from S+ to F. Then you could also look up specific weapons, and it shows you what is the perk pool for any given weapon with color-coded symbols of which is considered best and for what. So first you need to understand the meaning of these colors. Gold means great for PvP or PvE, red means PvP, and blue means PvE. So when you are farming for a roll, you need to look at the possible roll combinations, and unless you understand what this shit means, your best bet is just go down here and go for the top choice of the community. Well, here's the caveat. The meta shifted big time recently, with perks that support certain ability or super cooldowns given a much more important role, and the data didn't catch up yet as players are still playtesting and nobody knows exactly if Demolitionist could be a really big benefit for your grenade cooldown or just a wasted perk slot on an otherwise really good weapon. Okay, enough dilly-dallying, let me show you how this shit is done. Let's say I want a Corsair's Wrath. I have one, but it's kind of rubbish because it has a choice between fluted barrel or full bore, and none of them are particularly bad or good, but the ideal would be Hammerforge rifling for range. It has particle repeater and ionized battery, again not bad but not great. The ideal would be liquid coils for impact, and then firmly planted and demolitionist. Now as you can see, these perks are all highlighted as gold, or at least red or blue, and then as you can see on DIM, the Corsair's WEF is considered a very good roll. However, I'm telling you it's a piece of shit. Why is that sinister, you inconsistent foster, you may ask? Well, my contentious imaginary viewer, let me tell you why. Because the best perks are decided by several factors on different websites. And on DIM it follows two dudes' recommendations and a theory craft based on the roll sets they know for any given gun, and because it's theory, it's more often than not hit and miss. On LightGG, however, it tells you exactly what it is. And it's rubbish because you are not going to use heavy linear fusion for alt clear to get your grenade energy back, especially not while crouching in a well or behind a rally barricade. You might want to use it for boss damage with particle repeater and to quickly kill champions in a knife wall. You want Hammerforge, liquid coils, you wouldn't mind firmly planted, but you want high impact reserves for the extra punch at the end of the magazine, especially that Corsair holds 5 shots, so 2 of them are part of the high impact. So whenever a hunt for Corsair's WEF is available, I dutifully set out to try to get that particular roll. As I want to have a specific roll combination, I limit the perks accordingly. Now ideally, it should have a range masterwork too, but let's be generous, I would be okay with anything at this point. So okay, let's go hunting. So basically this is the idea. You go and try to find the weapon rolls that are the best for your playstyle, and as you can't really influence the outcome of the whirlpool and the high-end rolls, you should try to get the weapons from Beyond Light and the seasons while you still can. And yes, it dropped and it's another piece of shit, so I dismantle. Now let me show you what to do for each gun. You could get the Beyond Light DLC related weapons from Verix, however there is no hurry as these stay here for the foreseeable future. Nevertheless, if you have an inkling for a thermal erosion, an Arctic haze or Sub-Zero salvo, you could simply buy a bounty for some, and for others you need to do a specific Empire hunt. It's a bit more fidgety as Empire hunts are on a rotation, so you will have to do the required bounty to start them if they are not on. So let's say you want to get a Biting Winds, which is hands down one of the best kinetic balls in the game. You'll be looking for elastic string, fiberglass arrow, rapid hit and explosive head with a draw time master roll, by the way. This is not even debatable, that is the absolute god roll for this weapon, and it's a beast. The Empire hunt is not Kidris but Philax or Praxis. You just need to do the whole quest line, but you will still be able to farm for the bow as with the other weapons. For season of the hunt, you need to do the Raidborn hunts, and getting these weapons is a pain in the arse, but at least you could more or less limit the perks. You want the Deafening Whisper and maybe the Corsair. The rest of the weapons are not great anyway. You might consider Royal Chase if you are really into scout rifles, and Blast Batu if you are a big fan of Frostbolt as he uses that grenade launcher all the time, but Friction Fire is mediocre, even the God Roll, and Extraordinary Rendition is way better, and Extraordinary Rendition has overflow in its perk pool, so unless you want it for your collection, I mean Friction Fire, I wouldn't bother to get it. The rest is a fucking walk in the park in comparison. You go to the caster and can roll for the Chosen or the Spice or Armory, or collect the required currency and roll for specific weapons in the respective season, just like with Season of the Lost. Or you simply choose whatever armory you want from the top row of engrams in the current season and roll for it. Now here's the thing though again. If you are looking for, say, the God Roll Threaded Needle, you might want to roll for it in the Season of the Chosen, because as you are looking for a particular roll, having 2 choices of the perks definitely raises the probability of getting that exact combo. However, doing season-specific activities for the relevant currency is pretty time-consuming and doesn't really worth it in any other way. So you will want the Blinding Grenade, Slide Shot Ignition Code and Liquid Coil Roll per Threaded Needle for sure if you don't have them already. The rest is optional, but Extraordinary Rendition, Chrome Mirage, Ritzkeeper, and especially Shattered Cypher are exceptionally good choices with the right perk. Especially Shattered Cypher is slept on, albeit this machine gun is amazing. It's as if Hammerhead and 25% Delirium had a love child, it is just an amalgam of both. It's 900 RPM like Delirium and has the same impact. It doesn't have the insane range of Hammerhead or even Delirium, but it shreds in close quarters. So yeah, get Shattered Cypher, it's great. Well, that's all folks, like if you like, dislike if you didn't, and Sinister is out.